Come on down to AfterBuzz, gonna talk your favorite show.
Friendly hosts everywhere, humble talks without flirtation.
Going on down to AfterBuzz, gonna see my favorite host.
Ample thoughts, day or night, people shouting but never fighting.
Heading on up to AfterBuzz, gonna hope we don't ramble.
We like those with big fat titties, man, I hope this show ain't shitty.
Come on down to AfterBuzz and meet some hosts of mine.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are back on the South Park After Show. We have Steph Sabra.
What's up?
We won't bother Christian Blatt because he has anxiety, rightfully so.
Oh my God, Lawrence, that is so hysterical.
Christian.
That's pretty cute.
Christian.
Oh my God, Lawrence.
We are talking about Buddha Box. Christian Blatt has a Buddha Box. It's crazy.
We can't take him anywhere.
For those of you just joining us and aren't understanding this inside reference, it's because you have not seen episode 8 of season 22. So do yourself a favor and see that episode first before we ruin it, because that's what we do. Not ruin it. We discuss episodes of South Park. And what a wonderful episode it was. We just came off of Thanksgiving. I was so grateful. And now, thanks to this episode, it has made me realize how much I'm ready to just bury my head in the sand and call it quits. But that's what I thought of the episode. Steph, what did you think of this episode?
I love this episode. Phil was really gassing it up, so I'm like, is it going to be good? But it was really good. It was like a full episode. There was a few different characters that were like the main point of attention. I actually agreed with more things Cartman said than ever before. He was really, really annoying though, but I love the PC babies. You guys know I love the PC babies. It was just an all-around really strong episode.
Well, namaste to you, too.
Someone texted me that I guess we were talking. I'm going to try and calm down
back!
from my anxiety for a moment, but somebody in the chat
We
let
just
me
want
know
to
that it was-
congratulate you on your bravery.
Thank you. This is really hard for me to come out and be in public, especially because like 80% of my anxiety stems from sitting next to Steph. So this is
Very
not,
brave.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate
I do that.
I agree that this was one of the best episodes in a while because just funny, face value, everything that happens, but also they just incorporate so many things from recent episodes, things that we wanted more of the PC babies. We got it, PC principal. Strong woman. We got so many great things in there, and just the idea that Cartman, he just gets the idea that anxiety, you can just be an asshole. He's like, yeah, that's me. I thought that was perfect.
He's always looking for that easy way out. Now, we should also say, we will be talking about the episode, and we will be pretty humorous. However, kind of towards the end in our special segment, we're going to break down actual statistics about phone habit use. And honestly, just preparing this segment, Steph's going to read it because the more I read, I was like, I'm going to Amazon right now and get a noose and get it primed over here. So, just something to look forward to.
In the old days, you would have gone to a local hardware store and bought the noose yourself. But see, that's what's happened to us. We can't even interact with the people at the store. We have to get it through the internet.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't need that judgment. Like, hey, what you going to use that noose for? Hang yourself? No. No. All right. So without further ado, let's break it down. Let's talk about, I guess, it's so tough to talk about this episode in the sense that there's just so much. But this idea of anxiety. First off, Cartman, as I mentioned, he'll go for whatever the lowest hanging fruit is. And I feel like anxiety is this new thing. People latch onto these buzzwords, and whatever it is, they go with it. And right now, anxiety seems to be it for people. They have anxiety over politics. They have anxiety over the climate. They have anxiety over God knows what.
I totally agree. And it's become kind of like that ADD thing. And it really, I feel like where it gets detrimental is for people who actually suffer from disorders or anything like that, because they feel like they can't say it anymore because it's just become a term of almost like endearment. And Cartman uses it perfectly just as an excuse. And that's where I think the huge problem is, but there's also some comedic relief acknowledging that.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Christian?
Yeah, I think that everybody needs to have some kind of plight or condition now, and it's so easy to say you have anxiety. You know, I mean, not like a few years ago where we all said we had anxiety so we could get medical marijuana cards. But I mean, just as sort of an excuse, it's like, oh, you know, like everybody has reasons that they have dietary restrictions. There's so much that it's like, oh yeah, I'm special because of this. And no one embodies that more than Eric Cartman, who is just like, yeah, I think that the scene with him at the top of the water slide is like, yeah, that's perfect. That perfectly encapsulates not just who Eric Cartman is, but kind of like where we're at as a society. It's like, hey, I'm here right now, and this is really hard for me to do this. Who gives a shit that there's 100 people waiting to do this after I go? So.
And when we just say anxiety and we don't actually break down what you're feeling and how to move past it, then you become debilitated.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like all these disorders are, as you termed it, Christian, an excuse. And I feel like, listen, there's been, I don't know, take a look at Helen Keller. Girl was blind and couldn't hear, and yet she contributed to society. To me, that is a miracle. And you know what? So she didn't let her stop that. Stephen Hawking is another example, and I could go continue down this list. But all people with conditions, whatever you want to term them, they were able to do something magnificent. So just because you have, and this is where I become very un-PC, just because you have a fucking condition, suck it up.
Well, if you want to be on PC, if Helen Keller falls in the woods, does she make a sound? I'm just wondering. I've never gotten an answer.
Someone asked you that.
Yeah, actually, Lawrence texted it to me, and I didn't get an answer.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, I'd be very curious to know. But it's always interesting. Like you could. I don't have the actual statistics in front of me, but there is evidence that whenever a term does come out in society, all of a sudden everyone starts getting it. Because before, people could have had it, but there was no way to term it. And now once the term, I have that.
Yeah, I mean, the perfect example is gluten, something that we didn't know what it was. Okay, maybe we knew what it was 10 years ago. We certainly didn't know what it was 15 years ago. I first heard about it because my sister legitimately has that celiac disease where, if she eats something with gluten, she's going to throw up. And then you have people who are like, oh, well, I'm gluten sensitive, where it's just like, they don't have a condition, but they just feel like, oh yeah, I'm going to cut that out. And it's one thing when you're trying to do it on your diet, but when you make like a really big deal about it, or, oh, how is the cross-contamination in your kitchen? When it's not something that's actually going to make you sick, you're just like, yeah, I'm really trying. Are there carbs in your kitchen? I don't think I can eat it. Does your kitchen have meat in it? So I think, I don't know, to me, that's a perfect example of when as soon as you heard about gluten, everybody's like, yeah, I must have that.
Yeah.
Well, did the doctor tell you have it? So no. But, I fart a lot when I eat bread.
I think
Society
that's me,
slaughters terms.
Yeah.
Remember when kill yourself was a thing? And literally everyone would say it, and then suicide rates just like shot up, and everyone's like, oh, maybe we shouldn't say that because you just trivialize any statement or label.
Well, remember when people used to say Donald Trump should be president? Well, so many people listened, and they just went and did it. So you see, it's a great point, Steph. I agree with you for once.
It is, and I think the boundary should be at do you, but don't let it affect others. Like the fact, what I loved as far as this episode, the representation that Cartman goes to a restaurant. One of the funniest jokes of, hey, sir, I'm ready to take your order. Aren't you a waiter?
That was great.
That's your job, to wait. Oh, man. Just simply brilliant. And so that's a point in case where you're affecting other people with your condition.
Yep.
So don't do that. I gotta say, like the funniest thing that I've ever heard, I have to call out Jeff Graham, who works here at the studio. He once asked, what's your mayo made out of? And I swear, like, listen, when you work at a restaurant, right, talk about a waiter, yes, you should know kind of overall ingredients, and you should be pretty knowledgeable with the menu. I don't care what restaurant you work at, if you know what the mayo is made out of, what the hell are you doing with your life?
Yeah, it's made out of whatever is in the 5-gallon vat of mayo that we have in the back of the kitchen.
Jeff Graham!
And you know what? God bless this waiter, because he actually went back and researched it and came back with an answer for Jeff. And I was like, I literally started smacking Jeff Graham. Anyway, that's
Was
just
that the first time you ever smacked Jeff Graham?
No,
Yeah.
but and I know it's an inside joke, but
Sure.
it just illustrates a case in point about people just going to the extreme. Mm-hmm. So
Well, maybe people know him like they know us from the Silicon Valley After Show. So he's a personality here at the network.
he is, but he I don't know. Yeah, just the same way Kyle was frustrated. I feel I don't normally relate to Kyle that much, but I feel Kyle's plight and Stan's advice of, dude, you should just let him do it.
Absolutely, I agree with that 100%. Just in life, it's just so much easier. It's especially with someone who has a toddler in
I was
the
just
house.
thinking that
It's
when
just
you said
like
that.
sometimes you just say like, yeah, but why didn't we just let him do that? Because now he's like so upset, and I was like, is it easier to have him do that? It's not like it's not like we're not talking like run with scissors, not that level of stuff. It's just like, all right, so he's standing up on the couch. There's a way to learn that lesson that you shouldn't stand up on the couch, but let's let him learn it. So yeah, I think that I don't know that Cartman would ever learn any lesson anyway. So just no good comes of it. Just how great was life for Stan, Kyle, and even Kenny that Cartman wasn't talking to them. He was just in his own world. It's like great. There must have been a great week for Butters because all that Cartman ever does is basically make Butters' life worse. So I don't know. It was probably great for Butters.
That's true. Was thinking that his silence is probably welcomed. But what is the funniest, I think, distinction that they do is that everyone who wanted to have these be on their phone 24/7 still wanted to participate in everyday actions, and that's literally what humans do. Like, we want to be on our phone no matter where we go, and we want to go to the places that we would go, that our friends are going to, but it's like, why? You're on your phone, just stay home.
Dude, I'm just saying this, Steph. I don't know about you, but if someone sideswiped me while I was in the pisser, I would literally chop off their shit. Get the hell away from me. And don't blame it on your damn Buddha box either.
Oh, well, I was more offended by him walking out. He was about to walk out without washing his hands. It's these details.
I mean, he's 10, Also, if you're a guy, you don't have to actually touch anything, So he was probably
It's
fine.
not an excuse. I almost tweeted that today. I wish I did.
Well, remember wasn't it you that said a couple episodes he didn't wipe his ass?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No wipe. Savages. But I agree. I can't relate because I don't use a urinal, but if I did and someone sideswiped me, I would chop their shit off too.
Hey, listen, again, it's that boundary. Go, whatever crazy bullshit you're into, you do you, but just don't fucking hit me with your dick.
Stay home.
But that's the bigger point, the serious point that we're talking about, is people will do them, but they don't give a shit how it impacts you.
Yep.
They're just, no matter how much they inconvenience you. And I'm like, again, we're not talking about real problems, like real allergies or, we're making light of anxiety, but, severely depressed people, none of that. I'm talking about people who, we all know somebody, maybe even Jeff Graham. There's something about them that you're just like, it's the equivalent of, just leave them on their phone. Because, it just, everything has to stop down around them and they don't care how they impact anyone. So, again, this show's always so smart. And just a simple thing about like, oh, don't you want to spend more quality time with your phone? By the way, amazing fake commercial, which they always do so well on this show. That was right up there with the best of them.
Well, let me ask you this: like, in essence, does that just dictate the world's priorities? Which kind of relates to the PC babies. Like the more vocal you are, right? We started this whole season with school shootings, and a lot of people. Cartman are using these school shootings as an anxiety, and I love the tie back to a Black Panther being the cause of all of this, of course, because it is. I'm just kidding, but nonetheless,
I mean, it was okay.
Yeah, but the point being, what the hell was the point?
Well, that for
It was
Cartman.
Black Panther.
Well, for Cartman, just like you were saying, that he started from the school shootings. Just they are tying everything together.
Well, then I guess what I'm saying is that it trivializes the actual important stuff because we're talking about the biggest BS in existence when we should be talking about school shootings, when we should be talking about climate control, and so forth. And while this is like me rant episode, by the way, so I apologize.
great.
No, I love
We've got
this.
another half hour.
I
so
love this.
I'll put the box back on my head.
There's people of higher consciousness that are trying to do good for the world, but all the world's attention is being sucked into the BS of the lower tier.
What better example is there than looking at what's trending on Twitter? If you look at 20 things that are trending on Twitter, a few of them are really important. And then some of them are, people are outraged about the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving special from 45 years ago. Literally, that was being tweeted at because it aired the night before Thanksgiving. People were very upset about a couple things in there. Like the fact that the black kid, Franklin, sits on a different side of the table and no one's sitting next to him. But, he was there. How about that, Franklin? It's like Token. It's literally the same character. So anyway, these things that aren't really that important, people are so offended by things. And, Bill Maher made this point months ago. It's like you have to stop holding things from the past to the present day standards,
Yeah.
So I'm sorry that the Peanuts weren't woke in a 2018 way, but legitimately the fact that they had a black friend, that was like a really big deal, that they introduced that character. It was really important to Charles Schultz. I know you're talking about tangents on the show. But anyway, that's the sort of stuff that people get so obsessed over, about movies and about, things that, I'm really upset about this song. And it's like, okay, but they made a joke about it on South Park tonight. What about what's going on the border? No, that's for somebody else to deal about. Let me talk about the real outrage.
I agree.
Kanye wearing a "Make America Great Again" hat.
Well, okay, so speaking of cry babies, literally, or
Kanye,
sure, and making a difference. Like, where do we land on like the PC babies raised hell today, and quote unquote made a difference?
First,
but did they? I don't know. Is it effective or is it not?
Yeah, interestingly, I do agree with a lot of what Christian was saying, that when we like overkill stuff, we totally miss the mark on what's important, and then we just become huge complainers, and it's just idiotic, frankly. But they were calling out stuff that, it could be called out. Yeah, they're crying, but they were waiting for a solution.
Yeah, but a Cosmopolitan really is a pussy drink. Let's be honest.
Oh my God, but the word pussy, like, you have to see this Trevor Noah stand-up. Do you know how strong the pussy is? A limp dick is the word that should be used as opposed to pussy. Talk about literal strength. Babies come out. Anyways, PC babies come out, and then they make the world a better place. They had their first protest.
Do they, like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the PC babies. Like,
They're annoying, but they're not wrong. Mm-hmm. Which is kind of like the whole left side.
So it was all right for them to protest the fact that there was a construction site. We don't know what they were building. When money wasn't spent on, what was it, cultural awareness?
Yes.
I believe that's what they were upset about. So you think that is important, or is that exactly the point we're making, where it's like, okay, some of the things that you can protest, there's so many things that ought to be protested, and every day people could be out there, and then there's that. Is that really that important?
Well,
to the PC babies, it was.
They're babies, so they're still starting out on their PC journey. So they're hitting like the minor leagues, and I think when they get older, they'll progress to the border issues, climate change.
Well, here's the thing: it's always very easy to judge someone else, right? From that perspective, but like, let's say, right? Let's take that instance. You are literally, in essence, freezing people from making money. Like, granted, sure, it might not be the proper thing, but those employees of South Park had nothing to do with that whatsoever. They're just trying to do their job, make money for their families. God knows how poor they are. We know Kenny is. He's by the way,
poor.
As we've learned, poorness comes back to bite you in the ass. So you know what, PC babies? You're screwing those guys over. So where's the line? What's the truth? I don't know!
I feel like they work for a pretty good construction company, so if they're not
What is
on
this,
this
like the
site,
richest
they would go to another job site.
So they work for like Tony Soprano's construction company. Is that what you're saying? Where they get paid to not work, so it doesn't matter?
I don't know if you've seen unemployment rates as of recently.
You do
but,
make up a good point where there is an issue of there's groups of people in every situation where they don't have the luxury to complain. Like they don't have the luxury to make this an issue because they just need to make $1.
Yeah, those guys are like, so you're making this big deal about, what we're doing here, but now we're not going to be able to be paid.
Yeah.
So
Well, again, I think it's, Steph, I think it's one step further because I think it's one thing to have a group of other people step up on your behalf. Like I would love for someone to really step up and fix healthcare because I certainly can't, right? But it's another thing when you're preventing me from doing what I need to do.
Yeah.
Or if nothing else, get me another job.
Yeah. I do see what you're saying.
Because you're at that point, you're forcing a change, a decision that I didn't necessarily pick that you think is better for me. So.
I think you have
I've gone off the deep end.
Individualistic to the issue, and this issue in particular, I think you guys are right.
So what is the ending message of South Park where I just have to applaud. If nothing else, I really wanted Strong Woman and PC Principal to be together and to let go of the BS of that she needs to be strong and he needs to be PC because they are, regardless of what, and they can love each other. And I thought he was going to get down on one knee, propose to her.
I thought he was about to do that. Yes, I think we all ship PC Principal and Strong Woman very hard, and that is the point. You can actually they can actually have a relationship with each other and still be very PC, and she can still be a very strong woman. She was being a little too strong and downright negligent of those PC babies. They probably ought to have been taken away, but that's all right. That's a story for another episode, possibly.
What did you think of the final message of them?
Oh, I love that moment. I love that Phil was so into it too.
Yes.
I really want them to be together, and I think it is interesting that Mr. Mackey knew about them a little bit before because we didn't know anyone knew.
Well, they
had to talk to him. They had to disclose it, didn't they, in the past? Or so
did?
Remember, Mackey yelled at that. He yelled at PC Principal remember that it was that great line. I forget exactly what he said, but he was so upset by this. And I love that moment.
I have to find it. What?
Yeah.
I probably just
rewatch
watched
that
it out.
episode.
Yeah, I have to rewatch it because I love them together, and I feel like it's. One of you guys just said it. You're doing less of a service by.
Tony, look up Mr. Mackey yelling at PC Principal over
Strong Woman.
Yeah, over Strong Woman.
Because that's the episode where he keeps daydreaming about her at first, right?
Is that the
no?
Booty and the Blowfish?
It's when the kids are born. When the kids are born.
Oh, okay.
This is this season.
What?
Yeah, Steph, you have some homework to do.
I was so focused on the PC babies being born.
I know like school shootings are important and all, but I really need you to understand.
You're dropping the ball, Steph.
Yeah, like come on. You don't know when Mr. Mackey yelled at him?
Yeah, what the heck?
Yeah. So, all right. Any other? We haven't even talked about our favorite quotes.
We didn't get a resolution either, which was interesting. Like the only resolution was for PC Principal and Strong Woman. Everyone else just continued on their Buddha boxes.
The one thing I do agree with the PC babies about is the injustice of white people with their dreadlocks. They're
that was the quote I had written.
They're 100%. I couldn't agree with them more. That kind of cultural appropriation is
weird.
Should be unacceptable.
It's just weird.
Yeah.
So are you for dreadlocks or
not for white people?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. White people should never have that.
No.
Unless you wanted to go, then that would be cool.
It just doesn't even look good. Like, on top of the cultural implications, it doesn't look good on white people.
Okay. I think that's a gross overgeneralization, but all right.
As a white person, I'm actually very offended now.
Feels like I actually have dreadlocks coming in, so...
He's got dreadlock extensions. That's what was in the Buddha box that I was using earlier.
What did you say, Tony? You
said you couldn't find it.
Come on, man.
You know where you would be able to find it? Best Buy.
Oh.
That's a veiled
reference. Little inside joke. But
let's take this moment to shout out our fans because you guys are absolutely wonderful. We truly appreciate that you listen to our ramblings, especially tonight. God bless you. Or God don't bless you if you don't believe in God. Whatever.
Bless yourself.
Satan blesses you.
That's right.
Not anymore. Ugh, I still miss the big guy.
R.I.P. But he is in a better place. Quite literally.
Yeah, that's true.
So, nonetheless, we truly appreciate it. If you haven't heard, we're also on Spotify. So if you have the Spotify app and if that makes things a little bit more convenient for you, then so be it, because we're there too. And furthermore, if you enjoy what you hear and you have some friends that also like the South Park After Show or just any TV show in general, recommend AfterBuzz TV to them, because chances are we probably talk about their favorite TV show. So share the love. After all, why else have a Buddha box if you're not going to watch AfterBuzz?
Yeah, but that's a perfect way to watch your favorite AfterBuzz shows.
Yep.
Including the Trump Report, which this week we had as a special guest, the one and only Steph Sabra. And it was...
And we talked about South Park.
we did talk about South Park. We shouted out you, the South Park fan, there on the show. Shameless cross
They
promotion.
were once again ahead of the curve. Like, we were wondering why the climate... Because the climate change is always relevant, but there wasn't anything. And then, of course, the report
South
came
Park
out.
manages to do a climate change episode right before it gets back in the news.
It's
So
crazy.
And by climate change, of course, I mean Man Bear Pig.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tony, you really going to find that damn clip? You really going to let me down and our millions of fans worldwide?
You know what? You might be better suited
Yes.
for Circuit City, actually.
Okay.
All
All right.
8 people watching.
And by 8, you mean 800.
Listen.
8,000 people.
Listen. We have loyal fans, okay, Steph?
Yeah.
Do not... Why are you downgrading our fans?
I'm not. Benson last name. I love your last name. Thanks for being in the chat.
Do you want to read his comment?
All right. Any stray observation from the episode? Because now I feel
Is
like
it
at this
time
point-
for our special segment now?
It might be, but you wrote down so many quotes. There's so many quotes from this episode.
we
I just
couldn't
want
have
you to...
possibly gotten through all of them. I got through we've talked about the ones that I wrote down, but did you
No,
have one?
you said the one that
the one that
only
you did?
one I wrote down.
I referenced PC babies usually hang out at the liberal arts college. That was amazing.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
And weren't there a bunch of PC babies down at the border? I referenced that one, but I didn't actually say it. And then Cartman was pissed off. Hey, kid, you're about to be hit by a car. That was very funny. And then, of course, later someone does get hit by a car. And those were the big ones that I jotted down.
All right. There you go. All right. So without further ado, because we've been doing a lot of ado, Steph is gonna give us actual statistics. Meanwhile, I will take off the string off my shoelace and start to.
Okay. Flip it off of Phil onto me. You guys, these are pretty crazy stats, actually. I'll just go through them. The average smartphone user checks their device 47 times a day. That's 17,155 times a year. It's a conversation killer. 85% of smartphone users will check their device while speaking with friends and family.
That's so
Does it
obnoxious.
have any statistics during after shows? No.
I just can't imagine that somebody would do that when they're supposed to be having a conversation.
Yeah, I can't either. Christian's never done that to me. 80% of smartphone users check their phone within 1 hour of waking or going to sleep, 35% of which will do within 5 minutes. I am one of those.
I was going to say, could you change that 1 hour to 1 minute?
Yeah, literally, the moment I wake up, it is disgusting. But
You are disgusting.
I'm a disgusting human. 47% of smartphone users have attempted to limit their usage in the past, only 30% of which feel they were successful. I'm not successful yet.
I mean, I've never tried because, this is just who I am.
Well, there's a name for that. The official name for smartphone addiction is Nomophobia, which is defined as having a fear of not being with your phone. Cell phones have been around for years, though, so why does a sudden increase in personal dependence? Well, quite simply, it's defined by the nature of the content on the device, which is true. It's the social networks, the apps, the video. You can literally do everything. That's a problem. And then nowadays, don't you guys feel like if you're not constantly checking your email, then you're not a good employee? Like, you're not good at your job?
I mean, I'm not good at my job, but you do feel like if an email sits around for too long, you're like, who's going to be upset that I didn't answer this? The answer is probably no one. I mean, you should eventually get back to
I
it.
feel like
but-
people get mad.
People do get mad. I'm of the belief, and I'm probably at some point, whether now or in the future, whatever job I may have, will get fired over this. But I think email is not a job. Like, if I'm being tasked to do something, let's look at the greater picture, and that's what I'm going to be doing.
Phil does have very good, I feel like you have good rules for yourself that you follow, and you're like, you can get
try.
on this train or you can't. Bad news, you guys. All the research and studies we examined, not me, but actual statisticians,
Me and Christian.
found that phone usage dependence can impact both physical and mental health attributes of your daily life. Anxiety, simply having your phone near you, will decrease your productivity. The impact snowballs with the level of the user's addiction. Stress, higher stress levels were found in business-oriented roles where work life is connected to personas. Narcissism, depression and loneliness, attention deficit disorder, and sleep deprivation. One quick thing that you guys can do when you're about to go to sleep or wind down, lower. If you have an iPhone, you can turn like this sepia type thing on where it's an amber light, and that's better for your eyes because we're not.
It's night mode.
Night mode. Oh, yeah. Night mode. Yeah. And you can do it with your computers too. I think you have to download a separate application, but it's going into that amber lighting is way better before you go to sleep.
I'm sorry, but they don't have that setting on a book. So maybe you could try that.
Speaking of, I have two things. Number one, speaking of people crossing the boundary and affecting you, I have a girlfriend whose phone lights up. It starts blinking. And I'm like, turn that shit off for the night. No. I'm like, I will literally break this freaking phone if that shit does, like, now it's affecting me. Number one. Number two, I read a very South Parky quote from someone on Twitter that said, capitalism's greatest kind of mind fuck is when they said your work is your calling. I was like, huh, interesting. Interesting. I only bring that up because you mentioned the work-life balance.
Yeah,
part.
that I am a very half-assed person all around if my work is indicative of... See, I can't even finish it. That's how half-assed I am.
I have some last thing, warning signs and smartphone addiction symptoms for you guys. Actually, this is really interesting because I should probably check myself after reading this.
Check it.
So first off, do you get any of the following feelings or feel any of these statements relate to you? These are all the most common observations of people with various levels of smartphone addiction. Do you have difficulty completing chores or work due to concentration issues? Seclusion from family and friends or using your phone when in conversation? Very bad. Do you mask your smartphone use? Sneak off to the bathroom at work? Creepy.
Ooh.
Or at home.
Unsanitary. Do you worry that you're missing out on something when you're not with your phone? That's really bad. I don't have that. Do you feel anxious or irritable if you're not with your phone? Sometimes. Do you have sleep problems? So those are all things that I feel like I've heard people say around me in my life a lot, and that we might not even know that it's right in our hand. That's the issue.
Well, there is good news. What are some of the solutions people can take? Because you've just given me a lot of bad right now.
I do.
You were bumming me out, kind of.
Okay, sorry. Use apps to monitor use. There's different types of apps where you can, it keeps track of your time and you can set timer limitations and it will literally shut down the app on your phone. Another one is manage your own use. You need to be the role model in the situation. If you spend hours looking at your phone, check it during conversations and let it come between you and your family or friends. You're setting a poor example. So just be a little tougher on yourself. And you can do that by creating rules for yourself and maybe even people around you to hold each other accountable. And nurture other interests. Another way to reduce how you're interacting with your phone is to get involved in more social and physical activities. That's always healthy. And spend time with family and friends off your mobile devices. I call it devices. Disconnect to connect. That's what I always say.
There you go.
Pay attention to me. That's another one.
That's what you always Yes, we've all heard that.
Nah.
Me.
Yes.
All right. Well, on a serious note, Christian, someone with PC babies himself, does any of this worry you?
Well, the serious part about the phone, there's, my own usage of the phone is fine, but I try to mask it and not seem like I'm on it all the time in front of my son. My daughter isn't aware of it, although she sees it because it lights up, and she will grab for it already, and she's going to be 1 tomorrow. Happy birthday, Lucy. But because she loves this show.
I love Lucy.
Hey, that's a show.
It's a great idea for a show. But because, if you look at, my son's 3, but look at kids that are older than that. They already have iPhones and they already have so many devices and screens. And I get the temptation that you go out to a restaurant and a great way to get your kid to shut up is to just, put an iPad in front of them. And I think that you're basically, putting a Band-Aid and creating a much larger problem. So I think that the phone aspect of the story is, it's a very serious problem because people do feel that they're missing out and all that stuff. And in all honesty, on a day where you're on your phone a lot, you're probably not catching anything that you would have missed otherwise. Mm-hmm. So I think that that's definitely something to think about. But most of those things on the checklist, I probably will still continue to do. I'll just hide it from my son so he doesn't. Mostly because if he sees me on the phone, he'll
copy you.
He wants to watch a video. And I'm like, no. Well, I'm watching videos.
This is my time.
Yeah.
This is
my Buddha box.
This has been a very serious episode, so hopefully we didn't bore you. But many people are familiar with the term FOMO, fear of missing out. But there's
which I thought we couldn't use that word anymore. I thought that was derogatory. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's a different word that rhymes with that.
Oh, my gosh.
Well,
cut his mic.
There is another term, and it's not that term, called JOMO, the joy of missing out.
Oh, I like that.
And this is such a Phil term.
No, I didn't come up with it.
I know.
Literally,
but it's literally what I feel like you do.
I think there is something. Okay, here's in all seriousness, right? There's people who recommend reading the newspaper instead of just getting news on your phone simply because it's curated. People have kind of had time to think about it and editorialize it rather than just of the moment BS, no fact checking. So I recommend that if you're going to do news, actually read the paper. And then the secondary thing, I do think books actually help. All this, a lot of people are reading articles online for self-help and improvement stuff, but again, same thing. That's just the amount of spelling mistakes I just see on that. So it hasn't gone through the rigorous process that it takes to actually put out a physical book as Christian reads, So those are kind of my recommendations. I don't know. God bless the world.
That is smart.
I'm emotional. We're getting into the holiday season, and the world's ending.
Phil said this episode made him cry.
It was a good episode.
It was a good episode.
It was.
It was. The episodes
Why'd
always
you cry?
Because first off, PC principle, and they finally were able to come together. But then also, at what cost? At what cost? They had to hide their love, and now they're free and about.
Free.
And it's every episode of South Park is very poignant, but this one just felt a little bit more honest than the rest, simply because just by the nature of how it opened up, where it tied all those issues together that we've been seeing throughout the episodes, simply brilliant. It's a great standalone episode, but a great culmination of season 22 and all past episodes as well. So those are my final thoughts. What about you guys? I've rambled for a long time.
Oh, I love the episode, and we were pulling up Brad Paisley's tweet. We were commenting how we love when people who get in the South Park episodes in any way, when they support it, it's really cool. Because it's like being in an Eminem song. You want this.
Absolutely.
You've made it.
Mm-hmm. So what did he actually say? You didn't actually give us what he said, though.
Oh, sorry. He said, here in a few minutes when the new South Park airs on Comedy Central, look closely in the background for this poster. It's a poster of him. And also for a certain song of mine. And he's the ending song that is kind of the montage background for PC Principal and Strong Woman.
Anyway, what I was going to say is, sorry if I seem distracted because I just keep going over in my head all the thousands hours of entertaining programming that I would watch before I would watch a Trevor Noah comedy special. But anyway, I think that there's really a lot to
Just watched his
Yeah, that's great.
second one.
Yeah, he's almost funny. What I think that this is like Phil said, it's a great episode, and somehow in 22 minutes they're able to be so funny, but emotionally somehow you maybe didn't think you were that invested in PC Principal and Strong Woman. I don't mean Phil. We knew Phil was, but you, the viewer, might not have thought about it. But then it's like, yeah, good for them. They can finally be happy without the Buddha boxes. They realize it, maybe a little too late. But so yeah, this is just one of those great, well-rounded episodes that manages to check off a lot of boxes. So well done.
And as we wrap out, one final thing. The Buddha box in and of itself represents a simulacrum. And for those of you who don't know what that means, it's okay. I don't care. I won't get into it because we're going to get very into the esoteric, and I'm not ready to go there anymore.
The esoteric? What's happening?
You don't know what you know what esoteric means, yes?
Yeah, but what is the first word?
Simulacrum. It means the decay of meaning. So what I'm saying is they took the idea of Buddha and Namaste and have just completely stripped it of its actual meaning into this bullshit commercialized sense. Anyway, that's our show.
I'm Googling it because I'm not paying attention to you. I'm on my smart device.
I bet. At Christian DMZ is where
That's
you
right.
can please, because Christian's going to be on his phone a lot more these days. He's going to need Lawrence and other people to communicate.
Oh, yeah, that was great. That was one of the things we talked about when we were watching it. Phil's like, who's Lawrence? I'm like, we have no idea. That's what I liked. That's such a funny choice. It's somebody we've never heard of that he's messaging that much and checking emails from. It was just so funny.
Absolutely. At Steph's Abroad is where you can interact with Steph.
Yeah, Instagram and Twitter, baby.
I'm at Phil Svitek, although I will not be checking your posting, so I don't have to be on my phone as much.
Well, you might as well when your girlfriend's phone lights up in the room.
Yeah,
you might as well
flood
might as well look at yours too.
Yeah, what else can you say but bye?
Bye. Okay, what?
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.